Hello, beautiful world. Shae Bryant here with you. Gonna take just a second and let anybody else that might want to jump on this live call. It is, what is it? Tuesday, June the 16th of 2020. And let me just start by saying I am thankful, I am grateful to be embodied and alive and conscious and here and present. So welcome to an episode of I Am Sovereign Shae. I had taken a little bit of a break in doing these live calls, and I'm bringing them back this week. I'm just gonna go with the flow, as always, which is what I recommend. So what is I Am Sovereign Shae? It's not about Shae, it is about the sovereignty part. And that is all of our assignments right now. I think that's becoming very obvious, very apparent. Hopefully it is for you. That we need some reference, right? We need some grounding. And that is sovereignty within ourselves. Making sure that reference point of where do we find ground, where do we find security, where do we find meaning, it's within ourselves. And so doing this, I Am Sovereign Shae, to give voice to that journey to sovereignty. And this is what I humbly believe is the medicine of this moment. Yesterday I did a live call, it's on my Facebook page, that resonated with a lot of people, and it was talking about what is the medicine of this moment that I need, the medicine that I need at this moment. And what I was really referencing is that those of us in the so-called spiritual world, we might have a lot of practices to help us find that sovereignty, that calmness, that healing that we're wanting. And I just brought up that we are going through these amazing times, aren't we? Of recalibration, of revolution, of up-leveling, of really, really asking ourselves, is this what I want? Is this who I want to be? And so those of us on the so-called spiritual path, I put that in quotes in order to not make it too dogmatic, not to make it too conceptual. Those of us on a spiritual path are those that are trying to awaken, meaning awaken from thought-based ego and awaken to the truth and the reality that your heart is real and that love is real. And that we literally have an option in any moment to make that sovereign shift into the heart space and into our own self versus the mind-made, thought-made, ego-made, basically fake reality that most of us on the planet are still just constantly in. So that's what it means to awaken. Being woke doesn't mean that you have the right opinion on things, right? That's not woke. In fact, if you are identifying with your opinion being right, you ain't woke at all. You're asleep AF. So what we're waking up from is our identities and our attachments to identities that are false, right? Such as your body is not you, right? Your personality is not you. Your name is not you. Your job is not you. And your thoughts aren't even you. So to awaken is to awaken to the eternal question of, well, who am I then, right? Who am I? I am the awareness of my body. I am the awareness of my thoughts. The awareness of my emotions. So to awaken is not a one-time thing. It is for some of us that fully switch over into staying in that conscious state. Bravo, that's awesome. I would love that for all of us. Most of us, it is an ongoing process of awakening. And our number one motivator to awaken is usually suffering. Intense, horrific suffering. You ever heard the phrase, well, once they reach rock bottom, then they will begin their journey? Well, that's true for almost all of us. We require an immense amount of pressure and suffering until we can wake up to the true cause of our suffering. Let me clarify here. So there is definitely an external world. You are in it. Can someone come into you, violate your freedom, attack you, and hurt you? Yes. We are in a 3D world. That can happen. So there is pain. That's legit. Pain can happen. But when I say suffering, I'm talking about the extra layer that we add on to pain. So pain can be a reality, but is our suffering. That's what we want to look at as we awaken. Because if we don't have to suffer, why should we? Pain, yes, that is part of being embodied. Suffering comes from the ego and the mind. And that is really, really good news. Because as we attempt to change our external world so that there is actual less pain and violation and harm, bravo. But we must look at the suffering that we're adding so that we can awaken. Because the world that we are wanting around us, the world that we are wanting to build from this recalibration and from this revolution that we are going through, the world that we are wanting to build after this and from this, well, we're just going to build the same shit unless we have an inner revolution. So again, as we awaken to the reality that this is a self-referencing universe. Everything out there always started in here. You don't take any action in your life without it first coming from a thought or an emotion from within you. So if we're wanting to change out there, we must change in here. Okay, so these are the basic spiritual, philosophical truths that we must land upon. And once we have landed upon them, such as it is a self-referencing universe, everything out here I see through my own thought filters. We need that truth to be the paradigm that we remain in every single day. Okay, so you're following me here. The paradigm is, this is an inside-out universe. Now that we have landed on that truth, we can finally start. We can finally do something. And this is the highest level of activism in this world. Do I believe in protesting? Do I believe in being physically out in the world to create change? Hell yeah. But how will you create change if you are also in ego, if you are also in attack mode up here, if you are also thinking that you are so right and they are so wrong? You ain't woke AF. And you're building the exact same paradigm that we have been in collectively. So collectively, we are changing what paradigm we are in. The paradigm that we have been in for a few thousand years now has been a paradigm of the ego. And that is a paradigm of force, of domination, of controlling others' freedoms, controlling their bodies, controlling their choices. Okay, are you following me here? What paradigm would that be within? Force, domination. Another word for that is patriarchy. Now, I'm not referencing just the male, like male genitalia means that you have patriarchy. No. Patriarchy is something that any of us can have within us. It is when we ourselves use force, domination, and control to get something done. So how often in your own day are you using force and domination on yourself? I mean, you're saying you wanted to change out here. Prove it. Change it in here. So I like to be really honest. I had severe anorexia nervosa for over a decade of my life. Almost died from it. It's really crappy stuff. What is that? That is completely, again, a paradigm of force and domination on oneself. Why would somebody do that? Well, the reason is control. We are desperately feeling out of control, and we're wanting that control. And sadly, the only way we know how to do it, because that's what our culture has always done, is to dominate. So then we dominate, and we force, and we berate, and we self-abuse in order to change ourselves, in order to gain control. So wanting the health, wanting the connection, wanting this new world, all these things, these needs that we need met, the majority of us are using an abusive fuel source to get there. And that is what I'm calling the patriarchy within. Within you, do you still use those fuel sources of domination, of degradation, of comparison, and competition? Because if you are, you're just building the same stuff. We haven't changed anything. There is no revolution going on. And your suffering will only increase. So if we are the activist, if we are the revolutionary, if we are going to be an example of that we want in the world, we got to prove it, we got to be it, we got to do it. How did I heal anorexia nervosa? I finally admitted to myself that I was the one fueling it. And that literally no one else was responsible for what thoughts I was believing. Now, was I told I was fat? Yes. Was I told I needed to lose weight? Yes. I was modeling. I was in the ballet world. Extremely patriarchal bullshit. Whole systems there. And even from loving parents and from authority figures who thought they were helping me, they only made that paradigm worse. You can't go into disease thinking that you're going to pop out in health, right? It's not that, oh, if you lose enough weight, finally you'll accept yourself. That's bullshit, man. How about try accepting yourself? And then if you lose weight, bonus. But you've already become the health and the thing that you need. Losing the weight will not change your true relationship with yourself. It'll only make your ego identification with your body more. So if you have an issue with your body, something like that on the physical that you're disliking and you're wanting to change, I ask you right now, what fuel source are you using? Are you hating yourself, hoping that that's going to cause self-acceptance? Are you hating your body, hoping that one day it'll change enough that then you can finally love it? Fuck that shit. Fuck that. Okay? This is a revolution. It's internal, saying, I'm giving up the war within. Now, I might have inherited the patriarchy, and just like you might have been raised with all that BS coming at you. But you're still not free of the responsibility. And you're still collecting karma as you go. Is that a bummer? Yeah, sure. But it's also the good news. Because as soon as we become conscious that we are the ones that could choose what thoughts and what paradigm we support. I had a very profound experience in college I want to share you guys. I don't remember the class, I don't remember the professor, but we were talking about activism. I wanted to actually become an environmental attorney. And ultimately, I knew I would probably commit suicide if I did that because I could not handle the emotions that would come up from that. So I'm in this class, we're talking about activism, creating change in the world. And the professor has this TV on, and he puts it on mute. And he is showing a protest. And he asks the class, which side of the protest is on the right side? Well, with the volume turned off, you had no idea, and there weren't signs in this, video, so you could not see, who was right and who was wrong. All you could see is that everybody was angry. No one in this video was demonstrating the cure. No one was demonstrating the solution. Nobody was being the frequency, the consciousness, the answer. So by watching this video, there was no way to tell like, oh, well, they're right and they're wrong. No, everybody was wrong. There was no connection. There was no understanding. So what's the point of that? It was such a profound moment for me that I literally switched majors. I switched life paths in that moment because I recognized, right? I was one of those people that used to have a bumper sticker on my car that said, if you're not outraged, you're not paying attention. And I get that mindset because, dude, there's a lot going down. So does outrage make sense? Yes. Outrage is like step one. Yeah. But it can't be the final step. And if you stay in the frequency of outrage, what are you going to become? What are you going to do from that frequency? So, being, I call it an energy alchemist, being an empath, being sensitive. This is your assignment right here. You're in the world, you notice anything and it upsets you. It brings up that outrage, right? That's beautiful. That's wonderful. You stay with that. You honor it. You validate it. But you have to alchemize it. What I mean is, if we stay in an energy, a frequency, an emotion, if we stay locked in it and we don't notice our heart beneath that, our heart perhaps breaking beneath that, the sadness beneath that, the love that we want to see, the life that we want to live, it's not happening and we feel that sadness. We see other people being violated and abused and we feel immense outrage. It is about getting to the lowest level of our heart possible. Getting all the way down to the gut-wrenching fatigue sadness. It's getting all the way to when your heart is breaking and for you to listen to it. So in yesterday's live talk, I was saying that if you are being rigid with your own heart, you are enacting the violation and the patriarchy against yourself. So even though we want action and we want change and we need this and we need that, at the same time, on the same journey, if you're trying to be a revolutionary, an activist, if you're trying to awaken, you have to pause on the regular. You got to go in on the regular and you have to touch your own heart compassionately. Not as an abuser who says, look, you heart, shut up, quit hurting. I don't want to hear it. You're being a wuss. However you are currently self-abusing your own heart, until that oppression, until that violation starts, you can't even go within to heal the depths of sadness and disconnection that are running the damn show. If you can tap into the depths of your own sadness, yeah, the gut-wrenching, on the floor, saliva running, crying sadness of the state of the world, unless you can touch that and honor that within you and say, I understand and I love you anyway, and we can do this. Until you can do that level, true self-care, not getting your nails done, that's some bonus stuff there, but I mean true self-care, which is, can I give my own heart the medicine it needs? Because there's going to be times that you're going to be out, you're going to be in the world, and you're going to feel that heart. And it's going to be like, oh no, I can't feel this. It's going to crush me. I can't be in this world with this heart. And I'm saying, yes, you can. I'm saying that the issue might just be that you aren't approaching your own heart, your own sadness, your own pain as lovingly as you could. This was so hard for me to like bring up my own failings, to bring up my own insecurities, to bring up anything that I'm going through and to like honestly see it, but without getting more mad at myself. You have to see your shit and not get mad at your shit, right? Because then you're just tossing shit. So we want to heal it, right? And so I think of it as that most of us, it's like we attempt to approach our heart quite literally as a domestic abuser. And we go and we're like pounding on the door, yelling at our own heart to open, right? Making fun of our own heart. How many of you do that with yourself? Now, I know you see it on the internet, right? You see plenty of mofos making fun of other people's hearts, their sensitivity, their empathy. That's the disease, you guys. That's the disease. Somebody who's making fun of somebody's heart is diseased AF. They're not in joy. They are in suffering immensely. Well, if you can see that pattern within yourself, then you'll instantly see it in another. Somebody who is acting a damn fool on the internet is suffering so immensely. I mean, they just bring up pity and compassion. You feel sorry for them. Anger at somebody who is suffering doesn't really make sense. Sympathy does. So we have to self-reference. Here's the thing. If you self-reference your own heart so much, if you knock on the doors with curiosity and compassion, and then you hear, yes, the depths of your sadness. Is it unfun? Yeah, it's kind of unfun. I'm on here today with swollen eyelids. I was crying. I've cried about 4 hours today. Just a lot is passing through me. My nervous system is fatigued. I'm fatigued of the stress of finances, the tremendous changes I'm having to go through. But you know what I'm not doing? I'm not beating myself up for it. I'm not saying I'm a failure. I'm not saying I suck. I'm not saying I can't do it. I'm not saying any of that. Because I have made that shift into sovereignty. Fuck that shit. No more. That's the same disease as anorexia. That's the same disease of dominating another person. Is using a fuel source of abuse to create change. It doesn't work. So the answers that I have found as a person who has healed severe anorexia nervosa, severe bulimia, multiple suicide attempts, horrific depression, financial ruin, and divorce. I'm sure there's other things in there. Sure, okay, some drug addictions. All the above. Not a single one of those would budge until I softened. Until I softened within myself. So guess what? Your rigidity won't work with your heart. You got to go soft. You got to be curious. You got to be compassionate for the doors of your heart to open. And then bring it out and name it. Yeah, I named my sadness today. I named my stress. The fact that, yes, my nervous system is fatigued. That's what's happening. Did I cry? Yes. Did I let myself cry? Yes. And I changed my day. I changed my schedule because that was going to be self-care. Am I going to berate myself for any of this? No, I'm going to be so honest that I'm going to share it with you. Why? Because we need suffering to end. How do we do that? We end the self-abuse. Any war that you see out there is coming from within. Would you like to see every other mofo heal themselves? Yeah, but first, why don't you prove it? Why don't you show it? Why don't you end the war within? So, becoming an energy alchemist is courageous. It's of the heart. It is the ultimate activist role possible, is becoming the change that we want in this world. Continue to knock on the doors of your heart softly and lovingly. Continue to notice that your thoughts are choice. Any thought can be changed. Any thought can be forgiven. Any thought can be up-leveled. We have so much power. And there's a big difference between power and force. So guess what's leaving? The force and the forcers, okay? No more force. Empowerment. Sovereignty. Become that. That would be the greatest revolution and the fastest revolution that we could possibly have as a species. A revolution of the heart. A revolution of love. Sending you guys immense love and support. I'll be back on here, inshallah, God willing, on Thursday. I'll let you guys know what time. Also, this Saturday is the summer solstice. It's probably my absolute favorite day of the year. It's also extremely powerful. No joke there. And it's also a new moon. And it's also an eclipse, an annular eclipse. It's called the Ring of Fire that goes all the way around the sun. Pretty intense. I am having a soulful summer solstice day retreat online. You are invited. The information is at shaebryantwellness.com. And it is a donation based. It includes this awesome 5-page like PDF packet and some audios to really make this portal, this powerful portal of the summer solstice, an opportunity for you to do what we're talking about. Is how do I self-reference? How do I shift into sovereignty? How do I release this shit that I want to, let go within me? It's about recognizing you've got shit. I've got shit. We've all got shit. Let's change it, and we can. And so you are invited this Saturday, 1:30 to 3:30 Central Time. That's what we're going to be doing, shifting stuff. Love you guys. Sending immense love to each and every one of you that are doing the work. It is so inspiring. I am so proud. I am motivated by you. See you guys.